in all the books that I've written about Donald Trump, his relationship with Russia and his threat to the Constitution of the United States. And I'm glad people are starting to get around to understanding that.
Malcolm, I gotta,
Gosh.
I gotta ask you. I know you couldn't join us yesterday on your usual day, but I was just dying to ask you. So, the Kremlin confirmed a report that Trump sent COVID machines to Putin, right? So, what happens when they break with their, when your side piece won't back up your story about where you were last night?
You start singing the "Wasn't Me" song, and with Donald Trump, that's not his game. He is. Look, can I start this conversation with some stipulations? Right, these are facts that are unassailable. One, Donald Trump is the single most documented liar in American political history. Documented. So why are we having this discussion? Every talk about Donald Trump should start with this man's a pathological liar. He can't tell you the truth. Whatever he says he's doing, he's lying to your face and doing something else. So if they say, "Oh, he didn't send COVID little pocket cardboard box tests to Vladimir Putin. He
Yeah.
sent advanced COVID testing machines that the United States needed desperately."
Yeah.
Desperately. And, any other president who would do something to aid some of our foreign allies, they tell us, hey, we sent these machines to Germany. We sent these machines here. Out of a humanitarian out of a humanitarian cause, he could have said he sent testing machines to Russia. But no, it was a personal favor to his supervisor, Vladimir Putin, and he expects something from it. I understand he made 7 unauthorized phone calls or 7 phone calls to Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you guys a little something about U.S. national security collection parameters.
I was just going to ask you this. I was Alexander Vindman's comments. Yes, please. Go
If
ahead.
you are an American citizen and you are talking to a foreign power, there is no privilege in being the president of the United States and speaking to an enemy of the United States when you're a private citizen. There is no privilege.
Thank you.
You will be afforded all the same rights, but that doesn't mean that someone will not collect on you or will, in fact, turn this over to the FBI. It's a requirement by law that if you're caught communicating with a foreign power, we will sanitize everything. But we know you're communicating.
This is
with
what
them.
you wrote about in your first book, The Plot to Hack America.
Yes.
This is what happened in 2016. They weren't spying on Trump's campaign. It's because they were colluding with Russia. Alexander Vindman said...
Trump popped up on Putin's mistress's phone number,
Thank you.
It said, my side piece on Putin's phone, and Trump pops up.
Right. Alexander Vindman said it's reasonable there's a recording of these calls and an exquisite intel program. Trump would not be the target of the collection, but because Putin's a high-value target, Trump would be caught in the collection. The Russians definitely have a recording of every call. Trump's 7 calls with Putin also explain why Putin was emboldened to launch the invasion of Ukraine, sustain more than 2 years of war. Putin made a huge investment in Trump and expects the investment to pay off. It's clear now more than ever that Trump was the decisive factor in convincing Putin to wage a wider war in Ukraine. Trump has taken the world to the brink of Armageddon. A second Trump term would have America and with it the entire world go over the precipice. Trump is and was a clear and present danger to the U.S. I mean, Malcolm, that's exactly what happened because he on cue urged his Republican friends in Congress not to send aid to Ukraine, right?
You know what? It's quite possible Donald Trump was coordinating Putin's activities against the interest of the United States. The only thing that's saving him right now for not being called a literal traitor is that the Constitution says we must be in a declared state of war. But this, if you want to use it rhetorically, this is treason. He carried out acts against the interest of the United States and in his own personal interest. He wasn't carrying out private diplomacy at the behest of the President of the United States, Joe Biden. There is a recording not just on the Russian side. Okay? When you do incidental, activities like this and you pop up on Putin's side piece phone number, okay, we target that stuff. It's been done since, Roosevelt did it to people. I mean, this is old school stuff. Trump didn't care, okay? And he thinks he's immune. He thinks that he is secure. My question is, did he coordinate all of this with Vladimir Putin, and it costs the lives of our allies and quite possibly the lives of our servicemen and women? And I don't know. All I know is when we win this election, and we're going to win this election,
Yep.
no question, because every one of you is turning out. I'm going to Georgia when I get back to the United States to turn out the vote. I'm going to drive little old ladies to the polls. But I'm saying this, when this is done, this requires a full court press of the new Democratic House, the new Democratic Senate, and the new Democratic President of the United States.
Yeah.
No backsies on this one. No, he's a nice guy. Let's cut him some slack. No, he's out of office. Look what he's done when he's out of office.
Yeah. I got to say, I mentioned this yesterday. This is also in Bob Woodward's book. You know, I love me some Obama, but Biden was right. Apparently, he said they effed up in 2014. That's why we're here. We effed it up. Barack never took Putin seriously. I said that. He should have said F Mitch McConnell and told people what was happening in 2016. But, you know, nobody wants to be seen as too partisan before an election. But only we respect that, right?
Barack Obama's, I said this in the first months that he was president of the United States. He wants to be the Daniel Day-Lewis version of Lincoln, right? But before he suddenly realized how much awesome power that he had at his fingertips, he wanted to be the conciliator. And I think it's great. It's wonderful. It aspires. It is Barack Obama. And I love the guy. But I knew immediately Kumbaya is only sung on one side of this park, right? You're sitting there with your guitar singing Kumbaya. No one is joining you. They are plotting your murder. They are planning to break into your neighbor's house. You cannot show, it wasn't weakness. Obama showed what he was. I'm sure he hated Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
But what I think he did was he underestimated even the intelligence analyses saying Putin could be dealt with. So, you know, but right now, it's not him making an offhand mark to Medvedev about, you know, what happens after the elections. It's him not understanding Vladimir Putin was president the entire time and that he was plotting murder of his neighbor, the people of Ukraine.
Yeah. Malcolm, real quick, the other thing in the Woodward book about Mohammed bin Salman having a burner phone with just for Donald Trump. I mean, there's going to be more shoes to drop that we're going to find out about his levels of treason, whatever you want to call it, right?
Well, I mean, I'm flabbergasted. I'm not flabbergasted that he was given a burner phone. Okay? I'm flabbergasted that Trump took it. Now, there's communications we don't know about. If you remember at the beginning of this whole debacle, it was Jared Kushner who went to the Russians asking for a secret encrypted communications network so that he and Vladimir Putin could speak in private. And I went nuts on MSNBC over that. I was like, holy cow, this is you trying to evade the entirety of U.S. intelligence. Okay, so you got a Samsung flip phone from Mohammed bin Salman and his senior staff. That means the Saudis own them. The Saudis have blackmailable information if they cut any side deals. If there were actual bribes exchanged, the Saudis know it because they have a recording of it.
Yeah.
And the only salvation is that hopefully U.S. intelligence had figured this out. But, you know, the problem is that, you know, according to our laws in the FISA court, the U.S. side cannot be used. But we can use definitely what happened on the Saudi side. If he goes, Donald, hey, don't forget about that $100 million I'm going to give you next week. Or don't forget about those blah, blah, blah. Jared Kushner and $2 billion. There's a lot of information out there. And I'm sorry, Joe Biden, I suspect, knows about it.
Yeah.
And the interest of Kumbaya, people don't want to do anything.
I mean, well, can I say, first of all, you retweeted angry staffer who said Trump, who pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, is now telling people he would have had a deal in place. He also urged Israel to directly target Iran's nuclear production capability, which would immediately lead to full-blown war. Don't elect this idiot again. I mean, it is just not hyperbole to talk about the danger of a second Trump presidency, nationally, internationally. Yeah.
He's the stupidest man ever elected in this job. The man is a demented moron. He is really, really old. You talked about Joe Biden. Good God, Joe Biden was a little slow. Donald Trump is stupid and mentally ill.
Yeah.
And this could cause a lot of deaths. And it's already has, if you want to consider how he's downplayed these hurricanes. So listen, people, turn out, okay? I'm mobilizing Democrats abroad right now in the Middle East country that I'm in.
Yep.
You all need to understand we are in an existential crisis.
Yep.
And Project 2025, it's going to come true in less than 30 days unless we fight.
To your point about when we win, the thing I love the best, I think, is it in the Woodward book or somewhere else, that Joe Biden admits Merrick Garland was a mistake. Because
Jesus.
I can't wait for Kamala Harris's attorney general. That's all I want to say.
Listen, Glenn Kirshner had better tee up his resume.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Thank you, honey. Stay safe over there.
Yes,
please.
We'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you.
All right. There he goes.
Bye.
There he goes. Off on his secret mission.
Yeah,
Black Man Spy. That's his podcast.
that's right.
19 minutes after the hour. Hiya, Charlie Pierce. Hiya.
Hiya. Good morning, Jody Hamilton.
Good morning, Charlie Pierce.
So
I was intrigued a little earlier when you were discussing women leaders around the world who are boner killers.
yes.
Well,
Do you hear that on every radio show? No.
You do not. That's what my next line was going to be.
It's our special brand of feminism.
Exactly. Although, however, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand.
there you go.
Wow.
Yes, that's right.
I think Chris and I's discussion came down to Margaret Thatcher, Angela Merkel, bigger boner killer. You decide.
Oh, well,
Thatcher.
no question,
Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher.
Thatcher.
Yeah,
You kidding?
Thatcher
Yeah.
for sure.
So, by the way, to my point, just on the 60 Minutes question, you just retweeted Andrea Mitchell says Kamala Harris needs to double down on more interviews and serious interviews. She's got such a big problem with men, big problem, but also the business world. They don't think she's serious. They don't think she's a heavyweight. And you just said, "Dear Jesus, save me from this." All of these top economists, as she said, have said her plan, and not Trump's, is a great economic plan. Like, what is she talking about? And how many interviews must Kamala Harris do?
The economist on the other side of her bed, basically.
I've never gotten over that Ellen Greenspan takes, I don't know, like 7-hour-long baths.
Yeah,
Like
bubble bath.
he already looks like a California raisin, and I don't. But
I
okay.
can just see the fingers.
Yeah, the pruny,
Oh,
the pruny,
pruny.
fingers. Yeah.
Ooh, touching
Well,
Anga,
maybe
touching
maybe-
Andrea
maybe-
Mitchell with pruny fingers.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe she goes for the pruny fingers.
She has a fetish.
Ew.
There you go.
Wait,
Don't
so wait a
yuck her
minute.
yum.
Since we're don't yuck her yum. Okay, wait. Give me cut 6. Since Charlie and we brought this up. Here we go.
It is estimated by the Nonpartisan Committee for Responsible Federal Budget that your economic plan would add $3 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade. How are you going to pay for that?
Okay, so the other economists that have reviewed my plan versus my opponent and determined that my economic plan would strengthen America's economy, his would weaken it.
But
My plan, Bill, if you don't mind, my plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
Okay, good answer. By the way, I'm going to chuckle all day long about the economist on the other side of her bed. That was hilarious, Charlie Pierce. Okay. But I mean...
Well, I mean, I got to do something. You had a TV star on one side of me and Fernand Amandi, the world's most handsome human, on the other. And
Yeah.
there's this club in the middle. I better be funny.
Yeah, you're the funny meat in this sandwich, mister. Okay, but Charlie, I opened the show talking about this. I know we're just used to these are extraordinary times, but that you have one candidate that will not debate, will not do a 60 Minutes interview, will not do any serious interview, and apparently is just going to get away with it. So Kamala Harris not only is doing interviews, doing a million of them, but she's the only one. He's just going to sit and heckle from the sidelines for the rest of it.
I mean, yeah, he's the president of the peanut gallery.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what he is now. I mean, he's not proposing anything except himself and tariffs, which will solve everything. If you have, uncomfortable jock itch, tariffs will cure it.
Yeah, and world leaders are scared of him, and he won't sit down with, how old is she? The just say daddy. What is 20, 30-year-old girl?
She's in her 30s, probably.
Right, he's scared. Too scared to do that podcast even, right?
Yeah, I had never heard of that podcast before. Apparently,
neither.
it's a big deal.
It's big.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's massive.
It's huge.
Yeah, that's why we're old, Charlie. I haven't heard of any of these podcasts. I'm like, huh?
Well, I mean, I've heard of a few. I only listen to like 2 or 3.
I am reserved entirely for Bob Seska. That's all, and Frangela. That's what I'm all about. Okay. By the way, you the picture of Elon Musk jumping. You just said the bare midriff is not a look. Not on him. On Chris Lavoie, that's a look. But
Well, yeah, I mean, again, Chris Lavoie goes around half dressed all the time, and the nation applauds. But
a grateful nation thanks him.
No.
Yes.
yes, exactly. But I mean, that was just pathetic.
Oh, by the way,
that's worse than Howard Hughes walking around in his lonely apartment with Kleenex boxes on his feet.
in Arizona on Ruben Gallego's ass whooping of Carrie Lake last night.
That was great.
I love this. He said, will you finally tell the people of Arizona, did you win or lose that election? And she said, can I talk about water real quickly? I was told we were going to do water.
Yeah.
And, okay, how about your poll numbers are underwater? How about that? Wow. Wow, Tracy.
Hey. Hello?
Yeah,
Hi.
go ahead.
You there?
Go ahead.
Hi. So you did see it. Did you catch when they were talking about women's reproductive rights when Carrie Lake, who is anti-abortion, but she said she's in favor of UVF?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God!
She
I wasn't
repeated
sure if I was hearing things. The Huff Post caught it, and I guess UVF is like the Ulster Volunteer Force, which is a paramilitary Protestant group in Northern Ireland.
Right.
So I guess they're going to be inseminating women. Okay.
Isn't that the best
whatever.
ever, though? Did you lose the election? I was told we would talk about water.
Water.
Can we get back to water
Let's talk about water.
in terms of wet?
Water is
From the standpoint of wet.
water is a big issue in Arizona.
Yes, I understand, but that's not what she was
Right.
asked. Oh, my God. Okay. Chris, Julie in Seattle has sent a guess the quote for you.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
And also supplied you with answers that are incorrect.
All right.
Merrick Garland's utterly inexcusable delay in prosecuting Trump in the criminal conspiracy he led against this nation will go down as one of the most reckless and provocative acts in this republic's long history. Who said that?
Muttley.
No, it would be Rick Wilson.
Oh.
Who said it was a green flag waving to the Steve Bannon's Roger Stone and low travelers backing violence over democracy? Arresting and prosecuting the shock troops was necessary but not sufficient. Not one of the ringleaders has been held accountable. And since an unfinished coup is a training exercise, the bad guys are coming back for another round. Why not? The Garland DOJ made it clear they're satisfied with rounding up some of the small fry while the real perps walk free.
Underdog.
No. Julie says, no, Chris, not Snagglepuss, Mr. Smacely, or Simon Bar Sinister. It was Rick Wilson.
It sounded like Simon Bar Sinister, quite honestly.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've tried to hang with the Merrick Garland as long as I could, but I agree
Should I
with
get
Joe
Allison
Biden.
Gill on the show?
Joe Biden reportedly has admitted it was a mistake. It's just, sorry. I get there are some excuses and Republicans are, heads, but okay.
I'll get Allison next week.
Yeah,
maybe.
whatever.
So,
Okay,
calm me
I'm not
down.
scared of her. Rick says the only solution to these problems, even a partial solution, is to blow the doors off on Election Day. I am increasingly convinced that only an Obama-level shellacking will deter the worst aspects of the Republican plan to overturn the 2024 election. We're talking about a real wrath of God level defeat for the GOP in the presidential race, the House and the Senate. The Senate's tough, but the two other categories offer a path to victory that can and will deter at least some of the evils that Trump has unleashed and encouraged. Agreed. Blow the doors off. I've already voted. Do it. Get it. Vote as soon as you possibly can is what I would say. Oh, also, can I say, go John Tester. If you can help John Tester.
Yeah.
Yes.
I swear to God, he's the whole different. He's a real farmer. He's an like he's not like the fake farmer Devin Nunes on their side. He lost a finger in a thresher, for God's sakes. He's a real farmer. Unless you've lost a finger in a thresher, you're not a real.
That's not true.
He's
You
a
can still be
great.
farmer
He's a
and have
great,
all of
great
your
senator.
fingers.
Please help John Tester.
I'll ask Nebraska Nick if that's correct.
Yeah, I think you can keep all of your
Yeah.
fingers and still be a farmer.
Just saying. 29 minutes after the hour.
prayers are with everyone in Western North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and now Florida, who are bracing for another devastating hurricane. The bottom line is that FEMA spent $1 billion on funding for illegal immigrants that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden let into the country. CNN and many mainstream media outlets reported that more than a month ago. Now today, we find ourselves in a predicament where Americans are in dire situations in need of food and of water. And Secretary Mayorkas last week said that FEMA does not have sufficient funding to get through this crisis and through the rest of hurricane season.
Okay. Mike Johnson can call
first
Congress
of all,
back.
Mike Johnson won't call Congress back.
you.
Right.
Over 60 Democrats have called on him to do it. Not one Republican has. They're the ones that voted against FEMA relief.
And Congress solely has power of the purse.
Exactly. Not the president.
Not the president.
Right.
Congress.
Yep.
Okay, Kate Baldwin doing some boulderting. Thank you.
But first, on that, let's keep to the facts, which is on that suggestion that Donald Trump did make that they were stealing money from FEMA and using it, and it's all gone because they're using it to house migrants. That's not true.
Thank you.
There's no disaster relief fund money that was going to house migrants.
I don't think the American people care which pocket the money came from. They do care that their tax dollars, $1 billion of their tax dollars, went towards housing migrants. That came from FEMA's funds.
No, it did not.
It did not. They're just like everyone. That's apparently what you must sign if you work for Donald Trump.
Yes.
You have to lie. You have to repeat whatever lie he just did.
You're now saying is that you think it is you don't think American people care where the money comes from. You think it is bad that they're using FEMA money to house migrants. Ironically, Donald Trump attempted something very similar to what he falsely now is claiming about them. In 2019, Trump used FEMA. Let me finish.
Yes.
Trump used money from FEMA's disaster fund for migrant programs at the southern border. He told Congress that he was intending at the time in 2019 to shift $271 million from DHS, including $155 million from FEMA's disaster relief fund, to pay for detaining and transporting undocumented immigrants.
Every single thing is going to be a projection. It's everything he's saying is something he did. We continue. And
money was transferred by Donald Trump in 2019 in the Trump administration from the FEMA disaster relief fund to house migrants. So is he then okay with moving disaster relief funds for dealing with migrants, but now is not? Is that what you're saying?
What President Trump didn't do is allow an open border policy for 4 years, allowing nearly 20 million illegal people into the country, stressing our public infrastructure in cities across the country, using taxpayer dollars to fund illegals and put them in luxury hotels like we've seen in New York City, to give them prepaid debit cards to buy clothing and food when the American people are suffering from the worst.
It's okay for Donald Trump to do it. It is not okay for the Biden administration to do it.
Thank you. We will take any journalism anywhere we can get it. Jody is doing her impression of her dead inside door knocker.
No.
Fact checker door knocker.
No.
Hi. I'm Jody Hamilton. No, that's not true. What he said.
That's not true. No.
Hi, I'm dead inside door knocker. Okay.
That's what would happen.
Yeah.
All right, one more.
The word of a Republican member of Congress who says that these rumors that Donald Trump has been pushing, in part, the things he's been saying, is not true. You say that you haven't heard Kamala Harris answer a question. I'm just going to leave it here. But I'm not hearing you answer the question of why it was okay for the Trump administration to use disaster relief funds in order to deal with migrants in 2019, and it is now completely not okay and something he's hitting the administration on now. We're going to leave it there because I offered you 3 times to give me the answer, and I'm not getting it.
Thank you.
Girl.
Thank you, Kate Baldwin. Okay. George Conway said.
That's what she said.
Yeah,
Exactly.
get out.
Goodbye.
George Conway said, imagine if we learned today that Kamala Harris was having regular conversations with Vladimir Putin, had sent him a special COVID testing kits, falsely claimed to have visited Gaza, and was repeatedly lying about the federal hurricane response and said that the country had bad genes. Oh, my God. And again, that's like one day's news cycle. We opened the show talking about what a D Ron DeSantis is. And you realize why he was such a disaster as a candidate. He's just so petty and vindictive and just nasty and thin-skinned, right? Like and just not taking the president or vice president's call during a natural, that, again, unprecedented. Portia tweeted, now DeSantis is trying to keep a cancer patient named Caroline from sharing the story of her abortion by threatening to criminally prosecute TV stations that carry the Amendment 4 ad featuring her story. Right? Republicans desperately don't want these abortion bills on the ballot because they lose every single election, right? They lose. And so this is right out of Trump's fascist playbook. We're going to prosecute TV stations. We're going to... What did Trump say? Yeah, he's going to... 60 Minutes needs to be criminally investigated
For editing.
For editing. A pre-recorded
interview, which they do with every pre-recorded... Okay. One thing I wanted to get... We talked to Malcolm about some of the just stuff that was in Woodward's book. This one stuck in my craw. Joe, you and I talked about this yesterday. It's in the Woodward book. George Bush called Biden after the withdrawal from Afghanistan and said, oh, boy, I can understand what you're going through. I got by my intel people, too. Okay. Biden did not get by his intel people. He got by Donald Trump, who already did a huge drawdown and left Biden hardly any options, negotiated with the Taliban and not the Afghan government, right? Wanted to invite them to Camp David on the anniversary of 9/11. And no, George Bush, you did not get by your intel people. You got by a Dick Cheney, who
are we doing this again?
Pressured
We're
and
back to that.
Yes, your intelligence people to cherry pick and twist and outright lie about weapons of mass destruction. Oh my God, just the whitewashing of history. I'm sorry, Dick Cheney.
Wow.
I'm gonna wake up next to that war criminal after we win
How come
and
you're
gnaw my own arm off to get it so I don't wake him up. Oh, thanks for getting our democracy back.
How come you're waiting to hour 3 today to explode?
I don't know.
Usually you do it in hour 1.
I stored some up. I stored
right.
a little bit
She
up.
saved a little.
Okay.
We had a lot of guests.
Well, because I had
today.
to store up some breath for the latest statement from the bassinet of the 45th. This would be the statement from the full poopy diaper bassinet. Oh, it's all caps. The whole thing's all caps. Oh, we are in caps lock.
Yep.
All morning.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, he has rejected an invitation from Fox News to debate Kamala Harris now because he is a giant. See the likes of which we have never. Wow. So now he won't even debate on Fox News because he's such a.
He's going to the Palm Springs area this weekend, though, for some reason.
Pardon me?
He's going to the Palm Springs area this
They
weekend.
don't want him in Coachella.
You know what I hate more than Dick Cheney is that cock-a-doodle-doo. You know, that chicken. Bok, 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 bok. Bob Seska has a sound effect that actually says that word. It's a chicken. It's an actual chicken, but... Okay. I'm sorry. Did I get to the stage? Oh, I didn't. I won the last 2 debates.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
No.
Oh, do I need to stipulate nothing in here is true?
You won one of them.
One with Crooked Joe, the other with Lion Kamala. I accepted the Fox News invitation to debate Kamala on September 4th, but she turned it down, and J.D. Vance easily won the debate with Tampa, and Tim was, who called himself a knucklehead. I'm also leading in the polls. No. With the lead getting bigger by the day. No. Leading in all the swing states. No. The first thing a prize fighter does when he loses a fight. Sorry, we're on page 2. Is say he demands a rematch. It's very late in the process. Voting's already begun. There will be no rematch. Besides, Kamala stated clearly yesterday that she would not do anything different than Joe Biden, so there's nothing to debate. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. Okay.
Thank you for your attention to this
He signed it
matter.
like a business
What does he
memo?
Thank you for your attention to this. Please take note.
Why? Okay.
I eagerly await your reply.
Yes. We'll circle back to this later.
Right.
All right. Oh, boy. That meeting could have been an email. Okay.
Totally.
We were just saying, do you have the tiniest of violins? He's just a whiner, and they're just a whole family of whiners. Melania,
Oh my God, that one.
who believes in her ability to have
Individual.
liberty.
Yes. Liberty.
Individual
Liberty.
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 Right, that's what I said.
Liberty. Individual.
Women
liberty.
are entitled to.
Individual liberty. She likes it when I do that. I don't know why. I don't know why that tickles her so
You're
much.
going crazy.
How much longer? I don't even have a watch. Why am I looking at my wrist?
I don't know.
How much longer? Are we there yet?
No.
Okay, Melania, I'm not done with her whining.
26 days.
We're going to pull this house around.
Don't pull the house over. Melania Trump has claimed that cancel culture led to her son Barron being refused a bank account after Trump left the White House.
Huh?
What?
She complains, oh no, really? See, how's he been scraping by? She complains that she and Barron felt the venom of cancel culture in the weeks after January 6th took place. In another incident, she said she lost out on a media initiative because the private equity firm backing it chose not to honor our agreement due to personal animosity toward my husband. Oh, the New York Times reported that Melania's Fostering the Future program was not registered with the Florida Consumer Services and then therefore fell under investigation. She accused the media, but responded by saying the media was trying to cancel her and her charitable endeavors.
No.
And presumably infringe on her
Individual liberty. Why do you like that so much?
Because that joke has resilience. It'd be best if we do it again and again.
Be best.
Give me the thing. I need to.
Oh,
She's having way too much fun.
Yeah.
It's just because he's running against immigrants. He's going to deport them all. And she sounds like Latka Taxi. It's just. Okay. 40. I'm sorry.
The little things that
I'm
make her
sorry.
happy.
Yeah.
She is an individual.
Individual.
Right. That's what I said. 45 minutes after the hour.
I want to know.
Good morning, world's best looking human. Hello.
Oh, it's so good to be back with you, Mama. In this anxiety-ridden period, what an oasis of calm it is to come back on the Stephanie Miller Show. I love being here.
Oh, it's the answer to everything. Yeah, we were talking about how I was at a party this weekend, and we're at that phase where everyone's grabbing us by the lapels going, she's going to win, right? Because we're supposed to be the keeper of all the information, right? But I imagine it's 10 times worse for you as a pollster, right?
You know, I didn't realize I could have made a second living as a psychologist and an anti-depression consultant. We're in crisis management mode with people all the time. You're absolutely right.
Well, Fernand, give us your take, because I know I've seen you on TV a lot recently, because that's what everybody is asking is, obviously we've seen several election cycles where posters were wrong. And, one thing what does somebody call them? Some red wave pollsters, that there are some pollsters deliberately skewing polls to the right. I mean, first of all, it's ammunition for Trump to say, we got the story where Rasmussen shares information with the Trump campaign before they release it. Either he can say, see, it's rigged and I was way ahead, but doesn't it skew the average of all the polls when you throw those in, right?
Oh, it really does. I mean, we've seen this now for years, this notion of how polling has become weaponized to create a false narrative and really psychologically impact the electorate. And it was, Stephanie, a high water mark in 2022 when, remember, the red wave was coming, red wave, and it never materialized because it was a lot of those bastardized polls that gave a result that just didn't speak to reality. That is now doubled down in 2024. We see even more of that, to the point where it's almost only now the red wave polls, and rarely do we see those independent polls come out. And I think it is skewing the averages, and I think it is also creating a sense of a race in certain states that is maybe not as close as it would like to appear. But the bad news is it's still a close race. We want to mandate, national tidal wave against Donald Trump and Trumpism. That's not what we're seeing in the polling just yet, but Kamala Harris is ahead, and that's the good news.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because obviously Trump lives in his own reality. He keeps saying he's way ahead. And, I guess there's part of me, maybe it's the 2016 PTSD, Fernand, that there's part of me wants us terrified and not complacent or thinking, oh yeah, she's got this. So, what I said to the person that throttled me at this party on Sunday, I said, yes, I think she's going to win. I think, I don't want to say it, but I think she's going to win big. I think that, a lot of these polls could be off and being skewed, but I don't, isn't that a hard balance? Because you want people terrified in the sense that you want to mobilize our turnout, right? But it,
I mean, look, it is a hard balance. I'll say this. I've worked now on 5 presidential campaigns, so I've gotten a little bit of a feel and a flavor of this portion of where we are in the cycle. Let me be very clear to the people listening, because I know a lot of folks are anxious and with reason. Right now, what's today, Stephanie? October 10th?
Yep.
Yeah.
The 9th.
9th.
Yeah, 9th.
Sorry.
8th.
October 9th.
Today is the 8th.
Sorry.
For God's sake,
Wow.
we can't even agree on what date it
It's
is
the 8th,
in America.
October 8th.
It's the 8th.
Donald Trump says it's the 12th.
We're still less than a month from the final day of the election. Because remember, the election has started. People are voting now. People have been voting for a couple of weeks at this point.
Yeah.
It is absolutely accurate to say that Kamala Harris is winning. That is accurate. It is not accurate to say that she has won the race yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's got to run through the tape, and we all cannot for 1 second take our eyes off the ball. Right. A lot of you have probably saw, remember during the Olympics, there were a lot of those races where, the runners started celebrating a little early. They saw the finish line ahead. And all of a sudden, like, they look over their shoulder and it's like, oh my God. And the person is zipping behind. We can't allow that to happen. She's ahead. She has a lead. Right now, her 270 looks pretty good because Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and the blue dot in Nebraska are still solid in the polling. But it's still too early to say she's got this one. I'm not comfortable saying that, and nobody should think that just yet.
Michael Steele, your buddy, your pal from MSNBC, said he thinks Georgia, North Carolina, and your home state of Florida is in play for Kamala Harris.
Miller.
Several phone calls with Putin, and I'm reading verbatim.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what Bob Woodward. I didn't know Bob Woodward was still alive until you asked me that question. Okay. What little I know about Bob Woodward is I'm going to use the word here, he's a hack. The guy's a hack. And then he said, even if it is true, is there something wrong with speaking to world leaders? Yes. Yes. It's called the Logan Act.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He knew.
Right. And he said, is there anything wrong with engaging in diplomacy? That wasn't diplomacy. It was treason. It was him going, go ahead into Ukraine. I'll get my buddies in Congress not to vote for aid to Ukraine. Traitor. He is a traitor. Have I mentioned that he's a traitor?
I am a traitor.
He mentioned it.
He mentions it.
Thank you. By the way, MAGA is melting down over Tim Walz's call to end the Electoral College.
I'm with him on that.
They know they will never win another election if we just do the popular vote.
Right.
How can you tell me the popular vote is undemocratic? Is that not, I've always said I think it is un-American that people in, X blue state have to say, oh, my vote doesn't count because I'm in XYZ. Or vice
people in red
versa.
states, yeah.
Right. To say my vote doesn't, everybody's vote should count.
I agree.
So Tim Walz said, I think all of us know the Electoral College needs to go. We need a national popular vote, but that's not the world we live in. A clear majority of Americans, 63%, that's almost 65%, Chris.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah.
Support eliminating the Electoral College. Trump has also previously called for eliminating the Electoral College, calling it a disaster for democracy because he believed incorrectly it was responsible for Obama's defeat of Romney, because that was part of his Obama derangement syndrome, right? After he won the Electoral College despite losing the popular vote, of course, his supporters claimed it's crucial to the American system and the Founding Fathers' wishes. Don Jr. wrote, holy, Waltz and Kamala are radicals. Really?
No.
What 65% of the American people want is radical? Yeah, somebody wrote, "Oh, this guy doesn't care about rural America." The Electoral College doesn't inherently favor rural states, but rather swing states like Michigan or Arizona. California, by the way, gave Trump more raw votes than any other state.
Yep.
So they don't have a leg to stand on, except they know they are not in line with the majority of Americans on any issue. I don't think. How about this one? This is what effery. That's what they believe in. Pro-Trump election deniers have quietly been embedded in nearly half of the voting certification boards in battleground states' largest counties. This is a big gulp.
Yep.
At least one member has expressed pro-Trump. They found 16 had at least one member who expressed pro-Trump skepticism about voting machines, mail-in ballots, and the 2020 election by sowing doubts at the county level about whether an election should be certified, where they are laying the groundwork to argue that if Trump loses in a particular state, the electoral slates from that state should not be counted. A Trump defeat could trigger widespread certification delays past the federal deadline to certify state election results by December 11th and create an opening for Republicans to challenge the results in Congress. That's exactly what they're planning for. Legal experts hope Congress and lawmakers will opt to adhere to election norms. Really? That's what we're basing this on, hoping that Republicans will adhere to any norms. Oh, God bless you, Mark Elias. They also fear the tensions sure to mount as the nation moves towards certifying the results in D.C. It will be a period of chaos and confusion, predicted one expert, that will be leveraged by grifters to raise money and incite anger and violence. Michigan Secretary of State said, "We are more clear-eyed about what we're up against and what we could be facing." I hope so. People like her and the Mark Eliases of the world, that's all we can do. All we can do is turn out in huge numbers. I have to hope that people that know what they're doing are
they're more prepared
see this
now.
coming now. Yeah.
They're more prepared now than they were in 2020 or 2016.
Georgia state election board officials will seek assistance from the state legislature to establish clearer guidelines for maintaining accurate voter lists following a tense debate Tuesday over mass voter challenges. The board voted Tuesday to ask state lawmakers to update rules so it would be more difficult for county election boards to methodically reject thousands of challenges to voters' eligibility that are increasingly being filed across the state.
Yeah, because you can challenge any vote. Any person can challenge any voter, no matter what.
And we know why. Because they vote Democratic. That's the only reason. They're trying to figure out how to. By the way, speaking of grift, Trump's "God Bless the USA" Bible made in
China.
China.
How'd you know?
China.
Trump's Bible that he promotes, that he gets money for, is the "God Bless the USA" Lee Greenwood Bible.
Which is the one that Oklahoma is going to put in every classroom.
Yes.
Right. Oh my God, the grift just goes on and on.
It's all a grift.
Yep.
Okay, and then I always save one story that'll just make me gayer automatically. Stephen Miller.
Oh God, yes.
Oh God. Oh this. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's coming up already.
I think
there's my breakfast.
This even turned me into a lesbian.
Stephen Miller tells Fox viewers how to impress the ladies.
Stephen Miller.
After Jesse Waters praises him as a sexual matador.
No.
Yeah,
I'm going to knock on doors.
Do you have dating game music? Here is Stephen Miller's romantic.
No.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be shallow. He's so disgusting inside and out. He is gross look. Oh, my God.
Gross.
He said, if you're a young man, it's very important in election season who's looking to impress ladies, to be the alpha, to be attractive. The best thing you could do is wear a Trump support on your sleeve. Show that you're a real man. Show that you're not a beta, right? Be proud, loud Trump supporter, and your dating life will be fantastic.
No, it won't.
Waters said, "Thank you, Stephen Miller. Take it easy on the ladies."
I just think I'm going to barf.
Oh, God, I did it again. Oh, God, we're going to have to put tarp down. Okay. Why did I save that to the end?
I don't know.
Could easily have been a Patreon.
That was a taxing show. See you tomorrow on The Stephanie Miller Show.